So our first one is the City of Landrum, Art of the Horse, and it's my pleasure to introduce their mayor, Bob Briggs.
Well, thanks to Hank and Dean and Phil, and thanks to Hughes Investment and Elevate Upstate for selecting Landrum as a finalist for this exciting opportunity for our city. I am Bob Briggs, as Dean alluded to, Mayor of Landrum, located in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Landrum has evolved from a railroad town to a city with a thriving and growing tourist economy. In addition to scenic foothills, we are in the heart of a thriving equestrian world, which has become an increasingly important part of our attraction and our economy. Our Elevate Upstate grant request is to make a whimsical fiberglass horse a permanent piece of public art for our visitors and residents to enjoy forever. To support the upcoming 2018 World Equestrian Games, the city has identified a visible spot to display one of the fiberglass horses for 6 months leading up to the Games, to be held at the Tryon International Equestrian Center just outside of Landrum, which will also be the gateway for South Carolinians going to the Games. As you may be aware, Tryon has been selected as the host for the 2018 World Equestrian Games. This event, held every 4 years around the world, is considered to be the Olympics of the equestrians. Indeed, if you have visited Tryon Equestrian Center, you can appreciate that this is truly a world-class facility. The Games will be held over a 2-week period this coming September and will bring visitors to the area from 72 countries. The combined economic impact of these games is projected to be between $250 million and $300 million that will benefit restaurants, hotels, shops, and rental car agencies throughout Spartanburg and Greenwood counties. These economic impacts will begin in May, as many of the international teams will be arriving for 3 months of training leading up to the games. Horses, their owners, riders, and trainers have been increasingly enhancing Landrum's culture, educational and recreational experiences, and our economy. One of our longtime nonprofit institutions is the Foothills Equestrian and Nature Center, dedicated as a community resource for the preservation of green space and providing educational and recreational opportunities. In 2015, we hosted a visit from the famous Budweiser Clydesdales. Landrum was overwhelmed with visitors and resulted in a wonderful marketing and visitor experience for those who have never visited Landrum before. We know the World Equestrian Games will have a similar positive impact on our economy. We want to utilize the event as an opportunity to further enhance our city with the help of the Elevate Upstate grant. As noted, Landrum's horse is part of the area marketing and fundraising event for the Carolina Foothills. We are seeking the grant funds to purchase this horse and make it a permanent public art feature in our downtown. Otherwise, the Landrum horse will be auctioned off to a private collector. This is the Landrum horse. The horse reflects the foothills beauty here in the Upstate. Landrum's horse has been painted by a local artist, Vicki Van Viken, who, like so many new residents to the Upstate, has been attracted by the natural beauty of the area. Vicki moved here 6 years ago from New Mexico, having studied, displayed, and taught art in Missouri, Indiana, and Minnesota, and now gives art lessons to local residents. We believe her work will be a wonderful piece of public art that will enhance our historic downtown and serve as a monument to the World Games, as the world-class cities have done after hosting the Olympics. I hope you and the judges agree and will come see the Landrum horse for yourself in 2018 and many times thereafter. Thank you for your consideration.
Our next finalist is the Farm to Fork Dinner from the Abbeville County Farmers Market. And I'm pleased to introduce Tim Hall. And Tim is going to be joining the top board next year, so we're glad to have him. He works for the city of Abbeville, but we're glad to have Tim representing the farmers market.
I asked my co-chair on this project. Susan Stone, if she will accompany me on the stage with the clicker. So a little background before we get into our slides of how this kind of came about. I was asked about 7 years ago when I first came to the city of Abbeville to help with a downtown farmers market. During that course of time, Clemson Extension had began a fledgling type development of a farmers market in an alley, and it became somewhat productive. Over the course of the next 3 or 4 years after that, we saw the dependency of seniors, citizens who really relied on the market, and senior vouchers that were passed out through churches and different community organizations. So we tried to figure out with a joint of an agency called the Freshwater Coast Foundation that came to Abbeville County through Clemson Extension. About 2.5 years ago, we got into a bunch of think tank decisions and trying to figure out what is it for economic development that Abbeville County has, being rural, without the infrastructure for major industry in agriculture. Abbeville County used to be one of the largest cattle producers in the state of South Carolina, along with row crops and whatnot. So fast forward, after all those economic meetings and brainstorm sessions that came about, Susan sends me the picture where everybody is lined up at the table. I was like, well, that's nice, what is this? She said, farm to fork, farm to table. I think Mike McGurr, I'm sure many of you met him, I've talked with him. He said, you know, this is a really great way to re-energize your community. So we've kind of taken that idea and built upon it. Well, where are we going to have it, in a pasture or where? And we said, well, we need a good backdrop. So one of our best backdrops in Abbeville is Trinity Street. You see there with the church. And what kind of makes this special, we're going to kind of incorporate the idea of the farm to table and use it as a two-time stage event night. One is a fundraising event that we'll touch on in a minute, but also one is an educational event. So we scrambled around and figured out how we were going to try to pull this off. We talked with our local restaurants. Hey, we would like to do this. Would you be in? Oh, great. We'd love to be a part of it. We talked with our local producers that play multiple roles in our communities. Would you be willing to grow certain things for a certain time of year? So we decided we'd try to do this in the fall of the year and have a root vegetable dish and meat producers and whatnot. That was one way for us to get engaged back in our county and downtown. The significance on Trinity Street is a success story from one of my first and earliest farmer market vendors who started making goats up, and now is a brick and mortar building doing very well on Trinity Street. So that was that setting. The other educational tool belongs to this demonstration of where does it come from? You talk to the youth today and they're like, well, it comes from Ingalls or wherever. Well, you know, there's a little more to that. And there's a lot of energy and a lot of good rural area in town and in Abbeville County that we've seen through our 4-H program, which does a phenomenal job. And a lot of kids, and why can't we capitalize on some of these kids? That's what they want to do. They're very interested. So moving on, over the course of the years, from the small alley, we had a nice venue for the livery stable that Cindy made a huge capital investment in, and we were able to use that facility for about 15 months. And it became such a popular destination for wedding events and other social functions that it became a time lapse where we really weren't physically able to occupy that building without hindering other activities of the city. So we moved to a gravel parking lot on North Main. And now it has become a capital project site for a new community development and fire department, courtroom, whatnot. So therefore, again, we're out in the air. We don't know where we're going to go. We decided to use this as a fundraising and an educational tool where we could raise money to help build a new building with the city's support, and they've agreed to do that, along with using the local area hospitals for healthy eating initiatives and etc. So the idea of this is to educate the community, give us a permanent structure where our farmers can say this is our destination, we can go here and the community knows where it is, they'll be receptive. Sorry, excuse me, but thank you for your consideration.
Okay, our next presentation from Main Street Lawrence is the Food Truck Plaza. Jonathan Irick.
I want to first thank you. I'm Jonathan Irick. I'm the Executive Director of Main Street Lawrence. And I want to thank Phil for your commitment to this project. I want to thank 10 at the Top for celebrating the successes of the Upstate communities and for promoting community vibrancy that we know is so important. Main Street Lawrence is a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to promote, improve, and preserve the unique character and economic vitality of downtown Lawrence. One of the major components of this work is building community pride and vibrancy through our programs and our projects. We want to bring people back downtown and into our small businesses, small independently owned businesses that are the backbone of our towns. Our grant proposal was to develop a food truck plaza along one of our main corridors into downtown Lawrence in an area that has begun to see some resurgence in new activity. In June of this year, Main Street Lawrence worked with Alta Planning and Design here in Greenwood to develop a downtown master plan for the city. Placemaking and beautification projects were areas of main focus in the overall plan. But we want to ensure that visitors know when they have arrived in downtown Lawrence. As I stated, a lot of the plans in this revolved around developing ways to make downtown more walkable and more of a destination where people could actually come back and interact with one another again and enjoy being downtown. So we sat down with the city to develop a timeline for implementing the master plan and decided that one of the first things we should focus on would be the food truck area, because we know that food always attracts people. Look at the amount of people that are here today, and the excitement that food brings, and the excitement that food trucks can bring into a downtown area. So the proposed area that you see here is actually on a piece of property owned by the city of Lawrence that once housed the dry cleaners, and it has been underutilized for many years. Here again, you can see the layout of the plaza, which will include an area for 4 trucks at any given time. It'll include a paved area with up to 5 or 6 picnic areas with some shade sails that we'll talk about in a minute, and dedicated parking and a little bit of green space. And all of this, again, will take place on the main corridor coming into downtown Lawrence. The City of Lawrence and the Lawrence Commission of Public Works have already installed water and electric hookups for the food trucks, so now it's time to take this plan to the next level. The Community Vibrancy Grant will be used to install 4 sunshade covers, 5 picnic tables, brick pavers, and a couple of shade trees. These additions will make this area more attractive and a more lively area, welcoming visitors and residents to downtown. Again, this project will be a partnership with the City of Lawrence, Main Street Lawrence, and the Commission of Public Works. The shade sails will be brightly colored to draw more attention to the area while providing much needed cover over the picnic tables, and this area will also be handicap accessible and open to the public to enjoy even when there are no food trucks there. The city will then develop dedicated vehicle parking and repave the area. Once complete, Main Street Lawrence design and promotions teams will be working to program the area. We'll do that with live music and our own local food truck owners and more. Because of this additional seating and the weather covers, the food truck plaza will lend itself to additional activities as well. The food truck plaza will be the kickoff project to breathing more life into downtown Lawrence and to helping us create this vibrancy one smile at a time. Thank you again for the opportunity and allowing me to share a little bit about what we're doing to make Lawrence living more special. Thank you.
Project is the art wall at Monarch Park from the City of Seneca and the Blue Ridge Arts Council. And we have Ed Halbig and Suzette Cross.
Thank you, Dean, and thank you, Hughes Investments, and thank you, everybody in this crowd, for being interested in community vibrancy in the Upstate. As we stated, ours is the Monarch Art Project, Seneca's Field of Dreams. When we plant it, they will come. As it states here, basically we had a park that we began just outside of the downtown area, and we've started with a wall that I had an Eagle Scout approach me and say he needed a project, and I said, I've got the project for you. At that same time, we had been talking all along about putting in a structure that was going to help us do some screening, but we wanted it to be more than that. We wanted a structure that was going to be of interest to this park. It's not a very active park. It's not one that we're intending for sports, for organized sports. It's something more contemplative than that. And so this is the direction that we've been taking with this. So when the opportunity for the Elevate Upstate grant came back and they said, okay, we want you to come up with an idea, but not the same idea as has been done in the past. And I kind of question that, because our idea in the past is pretty similar to our idea today, and that is, this is an idea that brings our community together. And I'm going to let Suzette kind of run through the players here really quickly. Go ahead.
Our idea is to have this beautiful wood fence that was created by the Boy Scout to be painted by the Blue Ridge Arts Center artists, and they will do the background design. This is Ed's design right here. We might be a little bit better than that, a little bit more artistic. But the artists at our art center will do a background and kind of make it a paint by number and have areas outlined, and then we'll invite the community to come in on several different days. We will supply the paint. We will give them a chance to paint this back area. So we've got this beautiful view of what would be a butterfly garden, and that's what it would look like. Also involved would be high school students at Seneca High School, who would also be involved in some of the painting and the design, and the Hamilton Career Center, which helped us cut out our cats for our Ramcat Alley cats, the first grant that we received that made a big difference in our community. These will be, butterflies will be cut out by the welding teacher and his students, and some of them will be mounted on the wall, some of them will be on stakes. And so we will get those students involved. We'll get the Hamilton Career students also involved in painting the butterflies, and local students like we did before. It was very, very successful. We're also going to have the irrigation and the plantings, butterfly bushes, other bushes are going to be set up. We're going to have the irrigation by Hamilton Career teacher and his students. So what's exciting about this, and what was exciting about our other grant, is that the community is going to be involved. People will come there. They will be proud of their input and bring their friends and family.
And so, as we said, if we build it, they will come. They includes parents and students alike, both from Hamilton Career Center, from the high school, and from the Seneca community. As we stated, what we want to do is turn this into like a Tom Sawyer project where everybody comes and does a little bit of work and brings the community together again. Thank you.
Our final of the 5 finalists is the Be Smart effort from the Greenwood Arts Center, and Ann Craig and team.
Good afternoon. My name is Kelly McWhorter, and I'm the Executive Director of the Greenwood Regional Tourism and Visitors Bureau. In 2016, Greenwood partnered with the Festival of Flowers to become the first South Carolina participant in the America in Bloom program. The program provides a framework for continuous improvements in quality of life through its national awards program and educational offerings within various criteria such as floral displays and community improvement. In its first year, Greenwood received several recommendations, and one of those was to become a Bee City USA community. We were awarded that designation earlier this year, and one of their requirements is to provide an educational initiative annually that showcases partnerships within the community. In partnership with our organizations, as well as the Lakelands Beekeeper Association, the City of Greenwood Horticultural Department, and the Arts Center of Greenwood, we are excited to launch a project that will not only benefit community vibrancy, but also create a sense of place and partnership within the arts and horticultural communities. We are excited to launch a project that will not only benefit community vibrancy, but...
Hi, I'm Ann Craig. I'm Director of the Arts Center in Greenwood. I bring you greetings from one of the most recently named 15 great places in the United States. In the summer of 2018, Uptown Greenwood will be abuzz with activity as visitors swarm in to see the topiaries, the gardens, and the Be Smart exhibit. With a focus on educating and entertaining, The Arts Center and Visitors and Tourism proposed the Be Smart program. Kicking off in June with our Festival of Flowers,
Smart
topiaries will be on
with a
display
focus on
in
educating
Uptown,
and entertaining.
as well as
The Arts Center and Visitors and Tourism proposed
continuing in
the
July
Be
and
Smart
August
program.
with blues and barbecue.
Kicking
festival.
off in June with
The
our
Arts Center will present the Be Smart exhibit. Local and regional artists will be asked to produce
a special two-dimensional or three-dimensional piece for the gallery or for our courtyard garden. Each artist will receive a small stipend.
Subjects or themes for the exhibit will be pollinators and the local plants that support them. Other planned activities include a family fun day, presentations by master gardeners and horticulturalists, a farm-to-fork dinner, and displays around town of three-dimensional bees, butterflies, moths, hummingbirds. Groups involved in planning and implementing these activities are the City Horticultural Department, artists, potters, gardeners, beekeepers, school children, garden centers, and garden clubs. The focus will be on interactive programs. The public will be invited to attend, view, plant seeds, paint flower pots, attend talks on best gardening practices. There will be guided field trips. The activities will include a high fun factor. Imagine bee headbands, children in hand-painted butterfly wings, moss butterflies and bees in trees and gardens, large colorful pots painted by local artists. But this fun
Translates into education as the program stresses and teaches the importance of pollinators
to a rural agricultural community, the importance of well-designed pollinator gardens, the enjoyment of gardening and beekeeping as hobbies. Be Smart will promote community vibrancy and wide community involvement. Thank you.